Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam amma ba'da. Habati fillah, the question was asked, what should we do when people ask which sheikhs to listen to? Do we mention only the reputable scholars like Sheikh bin Uthaymeen, bin Baz, Imam Muqbil, and Albani, and that's all? Or do we leave the scholars and read the books of Hanbali fiqh and the books of Shaykh al-Islam, Ibn Taymiyyah, and Ibn al-Qayyim, and so on to avoid disputes? Where do we take knowledge? Is this the time where we take refuge with the books of the Salafs and leave the scholars? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and bless the questioner, and may Allah guide us and guide him to the sawab. I don't know of any time where you abandon the scholars and take to the books. And as the Salaf used to say, that the one men kitabuhu shaykhihi fuhuwa dal, or whoever's book is his scholar, then he is misguided. And you see this, I'll just give an example that we see sometimes even from students of knowledge, because students of knowledge have different levels as the scholars have different levels. And you find some students that haven't really studied, okay? They haven't been able to sit with the scholars. So then their book knowledge, their knowledge is mainly from books and tapes. So what that results in is a different type of tarbiyah. And the ability to ask questions to the scholars and so forth. Yes, they can call, yes, if they know Arabic or whatever the case may be, but it is a different tarbiyah, plain and simple, in the way masail come up that you get in durus compared to being in if you're just in a university or you're away from the scholars, or if you just know the Arabic language and you read books. Even if they are the explanations of the ulama, it's not the same as sitting with the ulama. There's so much more that you miss. Secondly, as far as which sheikhs to listen to, all the mashayikh of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, all the mashayikh that are Salafi, that are known to adhere to Kitabillah wa Sunnatu Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And what I would say, one beneficial thing with that, as you mentioned, these great imams of this time, like bin Uthaymeen, you can almost not go wrong with his books. That doesn't mean he has never made mistakes and that he hasn't been corrected by other scholars for small masail, but the Imam was a faqih and you will not go wrong with his books. Bin Baz, Imam Muqbil, Imam al-Albani, his books, as Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Abad said, لا يستغني طالب العلم بكتب al-Albani. He said that the student of knowledge cannot do without the books of Imam al-Albani. Truly a Salafi talib al-ilm. Those books are just invaluable, checking of hadith and his contributions there. And so definitely sticking with those. As far as sticking to a madhab Hanbali fiqh, I would not say that. That was just my basic training, is coming in Hanbali fiqh. Those are the books that I have, a little bit in Muwatta Imam Malik and Hanbali fiqh because I'm in Saudi Arabia, and those are the books. Also, maybe Imam Shawkani, his books. But the main point is that we don't exclude one madhab necessarily to the exclusion of others. That it depends on the masail. There's masail that are into all the madhab that some may be more correct and more supported by evidence than others. So we don't necessarily put one madhab over another necessarily. But Imam Ahmed was known for his adherence to being more literal and more adherence to hadith text and being a muhaddith. So also Imam Malik and so forth. So they all had their great benefits. Imam Shafi'i in his in usul al-fiqh, the fin or the science of usul al-fiqh coming from that great imam. So those are all our a'imma to Ahl Sunnah, imams of Ahl Sunnah, imams of fiqh, and imams of the deen, of the religion. So we love them all and we benefit from them all, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim, great imams, later imams, that you could almost say like revived the minhaj of the Salaf, that they are part of preserving, and especially in more contemporary times have influenced so many scholars, and the depth, the way they approached issues in the Masail and just the writings that we have that are from those great imams are invaluable. So all of those, where do we take knowledge? We take knowledge from the Quran and the Sunnah and the madhab of the Salaf. We take knowledge from the scholars. So we listen and we benefit from the scholars. There's still many scholars of Ahl Sunnah, and it is not restricted to a few. There are many scholars, for example, here in Saudi, there's so many. My particular background has been in Yemen and Saudi Arabia. In Yemen, from the scholars, most of them, they're well known. Salafi mashayikh there, of course, beginning with Imam Muqbil, although I didn't have the chance to really benefit from the sheikh because I didn't know Arabic at the time, but at least I met and lived with the sheikh for a few months. Later, but some of his students like Sheikh Abdullah Adani, I spent time with. Met some of the other mashayikh, Sheikh Muhammad al-Imam, Sheikh Muhammad al-Somali in Sana'a, spent time and lived in his masjid for a while, and attended some durus and stuff like this, and many other mashayikh there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve them all. And so you can benefit from many of the scholars, and also in Medina. So I'm more familiar with those Medina scholars that are well known, like Sheikh, of course, Imam Abdul Mahsin al-Abad, his son Sheikh Abdul Razak, Imam Saleh Suhaimi, Imam Ali Nasser al-Fiqi, and many other scholars there that we benefited from. Sheikh Ubaid al-Jabri, Sheikh Suleiman al-Rahili, Sheikh Ibrahim al-Rahili, Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab Aqil, one of our scholars, Sheikh Ali al-Tuwajiri, and many of the scholars. There's so many others, and I hate to miss any, but there's just too many to count. So that we benefit from. There's Sheikh Abdullah Bukhari, Sheikh Muhammad bin Hadi, Sheikh Kethra. There's just too many to name. But so those are some of the main ones that I spent time with and benefited from. Those, especially the first ones that I mentioned. And so anything that you can get, if you have Arabic, then you have the ability to go to the ulama. If you don't, then you're kind of dependent on translations. And so I would say benefit from the students of knowledge that are known for spreading the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam according to the minhaj of the Salaf, and avoid the debates, because this is what the ulama, they tell us, and this comes from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He mentioned this in a hadith in Sahih Muslim, kathrat aqil wa qal. We just can't seem to get away from it. And now I just spent 2 hours listening to something, and I almost never do this, but it's just been sent to me, and it's someone I know. And it just shows you the war is raging between Salafis in the West. And now there is a huge amount of Salafis that are, it's sort of a backlash against S-Pubs and Troyd and those other maktabas and brothers who support them. So it's really raging, the division, and I think there will never be, I believe this, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, there will never be Islah, never. And so you shouldn't waste all of your energy and getting into those debates and arguing and spending time, but it's better for you to benefit yourself. If you die today, if you have major problems right now, that's what's going to concern you. It's not going to concern you that the brothers in Marcus Ibn Taymiyyah said this, Ali David said this, Anwar Wright said this, Shadid Muhammad said this, Tahir said this one said this. That's not necessarily going to benefit you. That doesn't mean that they don't have benefit. But what I'm saying is you getting caught up in those issues. We have so many things to build. Building yourself by seeking knowledge, beneficial knowledge, is what's going to be the best for you. That's what's going to help you. Getting into these books and delving in there, seeking knowledge from the ulama. This is one reason why I've kind of been out of touch for so many years, because I made my mind up probably around 2000, after leaving Yemen, when I had a little bit of Arabic. I just only really listened to Arabic tapes at that point. I still would go, because the mektaba was still kind of new, on the internet. And so I would go to Salafi Talk that was pretty much brand new. And I found I just didn't find benefit for me. It hurt my heart. Even back then, that was 2001, to see brothers that I was in Yemen with, that I saw, that were known for Salafiyah, and like this, they were being dropped, attacked. And, it just amazed me. And even some things that were just not true, because I was there. I saw it with my own eyes, certain things, fatwa given, very controversial fatwa that no one accepts, but those who were there, literally, I was in the next room, Imam Muqbil was in another room, and, so we saw these things. So my point being, I myself, busy myself with the Arabic. So this is what I would say to those who don't know Arabic: busy yourself with Arabic, busy yourself with Quran, busy yourself very little with those, getting those issues, who's on it, who's off it. If you know in general they are Salafi, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, then benefit from them. But when you see that there's no benefit in their speech, if you see that they are using evil and wicked language, or you see that they're throwing away the principles of Ahl Sunnah, it seems, or what have you, then you try to save you and yourself from the fire, and from going astray, and from following that which has no benefit. So then the best thing for you is to keep seeking the knowledge, keep and benefit from those speakers. If you have Arabic, it's a whole nother level, because you can just stick with the ulama mainly, and also have ta'awun with your brothers and benefit from your brothers, but put what they say on the scale, especially of those major scholars. And I would definitely say that with the younger scholars as well, put them on this scale. And this was golden advice I received personally from Sheikh Suleiman Rahili. I asked him, and he mentioned this to me, and he mentioned those same mashayikh that you just mentioned: Imam Muqbil, Imam Al-Albani, Imam bin Baz, and bin Uthaymeen, rahimahumullah jami'an. So my general advice is, no, do not cut yourself off from the scholars. Never, absolutely never, absolutely never. That doesn't mean we don't benefit from the scholarship, as has been mentioned by some of the brothers, that's in the West. But no doubt their scholarship is not like the scholarship of our ulama. But I'm saying, if you don't have the means, or if you are in a locality and there is a strong student of knowledge who has more knowledge than you, and you ask them, that's plain and simple. So it's not belittling the scholars, it's not taking away from their manzil, and it is not building others up to a manzil they don't deserve, but rather it's the balance of knowing and understanding how to practice your religion and how to study. So my advice is to seek ilm. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man salaka tariqan yaltalmasuhu bihi ilman sahala Allahu lahu tariqan ila al-jannah." Whoever traverses the path of knowledge, Allah will make easy for him the path to paradise. Who doesn't want paradise? That's the whole purpose of why these books aren't here just to look pretty. We have a green color coding. This is Mughni. These are Imam Al-Albani's books. Ibn Uthaymeen, Sharh Mumti'. This is just so pretty. No, it's not there for that. But these are immense resources that I wish and I hope that Allah favors me one day to where I can have time to just sit and do my research and study and not have to work on another job, which takes me away from my talab al-ilm and takes me away from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I hope to one day be able to work in the field where I can just delve into my books instead of just sneaking and snatching time. But that's from Allah Azza wa Jal. We ask Allah the Almighty to accept our good and forgive our evil. Anything I said that was correct is from Allah Azza wa Jal. Anything I said that was incorrect was from myself and the shaitan. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad.